Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And I think Tatiana Maslany's check must have bounced or something from Disney. She is speaking out against the cancellation of Jimmy Kimmel. A lot of Hollywood celebrities are, but it's very weird to see people whose primary source of income, as best as I can tell, comes from Disney, telling people to boycott Disney. I don't think they'll be working for Disney again.
I don't even know if they were. The rumor was that she was coming back in Avengers, but I don't know if she was, because no one liked She-Hulk.
Yeah.
I remember when I heard it, I'm like, why would Disney do that if they're trying to fix everything? Why would they go back to what didn't work?
So we're going to talk about these cries for a boycott of Disney, and it's so weird to see. Once again, Clownfish was ahead of the curve because we were calling out Disney years ago. And people said we were alt-right bigots and Nazis because, leave poor Mickey Mouse alone. He's the good guy. What's wrong with you? Now they're like, no, you took one of ours.
When people wanted to boycott Disney Plus and that because they canceled Gina Carano or whatever, they were like, it's fine. And they were, making fun of people. Only fascists are going to cancel their Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But it's okay when they do it.
Yep, and there were a lot of people that were like, you idiots, what's wrong with you Nazis? We're not going to miss you. We're not going to miss you. She's not going to be missed in Star Wars. And I think you can actually trace back the firing of Gina Carano to the cratering of The Mandalorian, because The Mandalorian was actually doing really well. And then once that happened, all the warm, fuzzy feelings that people had were just like, oh, yeah, this is kind of shit.
Yeah,
and then season
insane.
3 wasn't good. And yeah. Everything fell off after that. But we'll see, because at this point, Disney has successfully pissed everybody off.
Yes.
And what's the common denominator here? Cancel culture. It's like, come on. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do. Woohoo. Go out to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com. And get notified. Doesn't cost you anything to get notified. We do have paywalled content. You don't have to pay for it if you don't want to, but you will get notified when we post new videos. Again, that's news.clownfishtv.com. And this I thought was pretty good. This is coming from Faith Forwards on Instagram, where they have a nice encapsulation of all the times that the left were delighted with conservatives being canceled, from Disney or Disney adjacent
Right, because
companies.
you answered the question. Conservatives, they were fine with it when it was the other side, or they had perceived someone to be the other side. But when it's on their side, or someone they want, or Jimmy Kimmel, because, where else are they going to go to have a platform to go and promote themselves on? Now they're angry. Now it's too far. Freedom of speech is under attack. And I'm like, you cheer when people were fired for less.
And look, we did another video on this. We both agree that there's definitely a financial component going on here, because I think Disney's like, they're looking at the opportunity to save a bunch of money. And they're like, oh, well, if we're going to lose our broadcasters, our network broadcasters anyway, and nobody's watching Kimmel, and it costs a lot to make Kimmel, and God knows what they're losing on Kimmel, because it turned out that Colbert, which was doing better, was still losing like 50 million a year.
So they used the opportunity, just like they did with Splash Mountain being Tiana's Bayou Adventure.
Yeah.
When the Black Lives Matter situation happened that summer, it was a long-standing thing they tried to do repeatedly, and it wouldn't go through. As soon as they had an opportunity to do it, they used it in that way as a shield, so that if you complained about it, you were a bigot. Yep. If you complain about this, you're a terrible person for thinking it's okay what he said. They're cowards, and they'll use it on both sides as a way to shield themselves to do what they were going to do anyway, or they wanted to do anyway.
I think this is, I love this. I love seeing left-wingers who were calling, anyone who was critical of Disney Nazis and bigots and homophobes and whatever, now being like, but they're the bad guys, you have to ban them, including their own stars. I'm like, how does it feel? We're not monsters. We're just ahead of the curve, guys. We are. So this is Tatiana Maslany, star of She-Hulk. She posted an image to her Instagram story of herself in motion capture costume for She-Hulk, acknowledging her connection to Disney, with text above that reads, "Cancel your Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN subscriptions." Well, good luck getting back into the MCU there. They should replace her with Gina Carano.
There you go.
So former Congressman Adam Kinzinger wrote to his 1 million X-followers this morning, when government intimidation and corporate cowardice meet, free speech dies. Boycott ABC and Disney until they stand up to Brendan Carr's censorship. As we understand it, in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, it was the broadcasters, the local
yeah,
stations.
They said that the FCC didn't tell them to do it.
Yeah. Transparent star Amy Landecker, who's married to the West Wing's Bradley Whitford, posted an image where sorry to see you go. They made fun of right-wingers who did this, who like, look at those Karens canceling. This just means more Disney for me. They're canceling their trips to Disney. They're canceling their Disney Plus. They're boycotting. It means more for me. It means it means piles of unsold Star Wars and Marvel action figures at Ollie's is what it means.
Oh, they had that. Director, Damien, whatever.
Oh, Damien Lindelof.
Yeah, he was having his, but he was also mad at Disney because they screwed him on Star Wars, and he was talking shit before.
So I wonder if she's already pissed at them. Maybe they're not going to bring her back as She-Hulk, or they're going to recast She-Hulk, or they're going to use CGI. And she's like, oh, now I got a chance to stick it to Disney. But I'm like, God, just the irony. It's like you guys were all making fun of right-wingers for boycotting Disney.
Here's what's going to happen because of all this stuff. I'm going to tell you right now. Here's what's going to happen. Because Hollywood's trying to do this because they think that they're so much more important and they're better. And then they're like, well, Hollywood's, Disney's getting pressure from Hollywood. Okay, great. So let's say Disney gets pressure from Hollywood. Let's say Disney, does cave and does what they want. What do you think studios looking at this are going to be like? You have celebrities biting the hand that feeds them over, that celebrate cancel culture with other people, but when it's their side, they're mad. So these studios aren't going to be allowed to do anything unless it's to their benefit on their side. How fast do you think AI is going to take hold in Hollywood then? You thought that the strikes are bad, and we kept telling you when they're over, some people will get more money, but a lot of you aren't going to have jobs. And now there's article after article about how jobs are in decline because there's not as much work. How much work do you think is going to be left when studios see your behavior and see how you're acting because of Jimmy Kimmel, and they don't want the headache? So they're going to switch to AI. Disney's already has stuff in place to do that. Other studios are going to do it too. It's going to be a whole lot easier to get rid of people like you and not have to deal with the headaches associated with you boycotting the places that pay you. Okay, so that's one. The other downside, though, is going to be this when it comes to Disney. Disney, they lost people on the far right a long time ago. People have been mad at Disney for a while, so a lot of people over there canceled their subscriptions a long time ago. People in the middle and people on the far left were the ones who still had their subscriptions. So it may hurt them somewhat if the far left suddenly decide to cancel their subscriptions because that's what they had left. But if they bend the knee and they, put Kimmel on the air without an apology, without a retraction, without anything like that, middle America is going to be pissed too. But I'm telling you this because the celebrities are getting involved and they're all going about cancel culture that they participated in themselves on many occasions and delighted in when it was people that weren't them. Or you're on the other side, unquote, quote unquote. It's just gonna hasten your replacement. Yeah, you're gonna be looked at as problematic. Yes, studios are gonna be like, oh, they're a problem. So you're not gonna get calls anymore. You're going to be replaced with AI so much faster. And then a lot of people who aren't who weren't your mouthpieces or didn't get the mouthpiece you had, are going to be out of work. And they're going to turn around and say, look what MAGA did. They put all these people out of work. It's like, no, before you do that, because I know that's what you're going to do, you put them out of work because you didn't think about it first.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like the more disposable, like this is like 101 for employment is you have to help your employer because that's why they pay you. They pay you to help them. If you actually make their jobs harder, you put a huge target on yourself. I mean, this is like 101. I gotta apologize. I saw this is trying not to laugh.
So sorry.
Aaron, we're sorry. We have no control over the ads. Aaron Sparrow rightfully pointed this out on X, how to get rid of embarrassing man boobs.
I am so sorry.
So scroll past. There you go. There you go. Over on Blue
I
Sky.
apologize, dude.
How dare Disney fire someone for exercising free speech? We would never cheer this on. This is fascism. Meanwhile, on X, yeah, Giancarlo. Yeah, it's wild because they weren't defending nobody outside of like Fox News, and even Fox News fired Tucker Carlson, but like nobody outside of right wing outlets would defend Gina Carano.
No, that's not true though. Some of her co-stars did.
Her co-stars did, but I mean, I was talking like media outlets.
Oh, media outlets, yeah.
And now they're
all
like,
it serves her right for being you're being anti-Semitic. So the people who act anti-Semitic now.
What happens with cancel culture, and this is why it's bad too, is once you get the scarlet letter, your friends won't talk to you anymore. Your employers won't, former employers, whatever, business contacts won't return your calls. Sometimes agencies will drop you because they don't want to be accused of having a radioactive client.
We know what this is like. One of the reasons we are against it is because it kind of happened to us. And I'll tell you why. We are anti-cancel culture because Kneon, a long time ago, just asked a question. That's all. He noticed that the numbers for Marvel were going down. And he's like, wow, this is a problem. Numbers are dropping. What, this could be concerning. And you also speculated that maybe they might, if it keeps dropping, they might outsource things to other companies because it might not be worth it for them to keep doing it. Immediately, people we've been friends with for years unfollowed him. People were writing him, concerned things like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that. It'd be a really bad thing because you're about being Comicsgate." And he's like, "What the fuck is Comicsgate?"
I didn't even. Yeah, I had no idea Comicsgate was even a thing. They're like, "You sound like Comicsgate." I'm like, "What the fuck is a Comicsgate? What is that?"
And immediately, a bunch of people, even people we knew in person for years, suddenly, blocked us, unfollowed us. And we didn't even anything to do with any of this. We just asked a question. I mean, he just said, "Hey, numbers are down. This might be a bad thing. What's up with this? How dare you ask that?" So, all of a sudden, instead of even asking us to see where we were coming from, they just, in lockstep, we got put on lists. We got all this other shit. We didn't even know. We had nothing to do with any of it. Like, we didn't even know what was going on. We had contacts at like IDW and stuff. Wouldn't even they unfollowed
they all unfollowed
wouldn't
or
talk
blocked
to you.
People literally people I worked with that I always had a good relationship with literally blocked me. I got put on a block list because I don't know if I followed the wrong people or asked the wrong questions or what, but like you were not allowed to question the regime at Marvel or DC. Like everything was fine. And if you had any criticisms about the direction the comics were going in, you were a Nazi, bigot, homophobe, whatever.
Well, speaking of Aaron, even he wanted to hire you to do Darkwing Duck, but because you questioned Boom's numbers for Disney Comics and like, oh, these are bad. Maybe they should consider doing this, this, and that. That was enough that he was never allowed to be hired because he questioned.
He's told this. He's actually told this story on Thinking Critical.
Oh, he's
before.
told it all over the place.
But
so people didn't know.
I was supposed to work on the Boom Disney comics with Aaron. He wanted to hire me, and they wouldn't hire me because I was on the Disney forum. And I was very like, I wasn't mean about it, but I'm just like, hey, I worked on the Gemstone books for a good number of years, and I just don't think the direction they're going in because they're doing in like an Elseworlds Mickey. I'm like, I don't think doing that as their launch title is really going to work because you want to keep the fans you have happy and then add to that. And I'm like, I'm just not really sure about this. I don't think it's going to go over the way they think it's going to go. And just because I said that, I got a letter from their marketing guy who was basically like, shut the hell up. It'd be in your best interest to not talk.
And then Aaron was told he wasn't allowed to hire you.
And he was told he wasn't allowed to hire me.
The receiving end of this ourselves.
Yeah.
Disney Media, we were a part of media and then we weren't because we would point out, we think we would point out the stuff that was, they didn't want people to point out.
Yeah.
Now you're allowed to. Now everybody's doing it. But we got, booted off of boards. We got all kinds of stuff because of things that people assumed about us.
Okay, so this one to this day, I'm not going to name names, but this pisses me off to this very day. Literally, like 20 plus years ago, we used to be on a Christian comics forum.
Oh, that one, yes.
And I'm trying to remember because we haven't been dishonest about or hit like I was a Democrat. I vote, and I was actually kind of like, hey, I'm not sure Just, the Republican candidate's the most moral candidate.
It was
just objectively. It was McCain. I'm like, just saying with people, if because there was a big discussion about like who you should vote for as a Christian or whatever. And I'm just like, look, you got to vote with your conscience, realize that neither one of these guys are like God's ordained perfect whatever.
Right.
You just got to go with kind of the lesser of two evils. So just don't be blinded by party is all
That's all
I was saying.
said. That's all he said.
We got thrown off the board. We got thrown off the board for that because I said, don't just blindly, go with whatever the Republican candidate is or whatever, just because you think that's the Christian thing to do, and realize that, it's whatever. I got thrown off the board. Years later, via Facebook, I find out that the guy who threw me off the board is very left wing now. Mm-hmm. And who threw me off for even suggesting somebody should maybe consider go by candidate by candidate basis, God forbid you vote for any Democrat. Two, there's another guy who was actually a comic book professional who recently I had to unfollow on Facebook. And for the longest time, I had a lot of respect for this guy. I did. I've actually, I used to talk to him all the time. I'm not going to say who it is, but he was really poking the bear with the Charlie Kirk stuff. And I'm like, this is not, for somebody that's claiming to be a Christian, this is not a very Christian way to delight in the death of someone or get right up to, he was getting right up to it. I'm like, in every other post, I'm like, I can't do this. So I'm like, the irony in getting thrown off of a Christian comics board for being too far left, only to find out these people are way further left than we ever were.
Well, the guy that threw you off, his daughter's LGBTQ something, and I don't even know what exactly, but and then all of a sudden,
and I'm just like, what the hell happened here?
And all we did was we always leaned more left, and we all we just said was, I think you need to look at people on a case by case basis.
Yes,
that's all we said, and we got kicked off the board. So when we say we're against cancel culture, we're against cancel culture for good reason. And you can get mad at us for saying that I don't necessarily think people like Jimmy Kimmel deserve to be completely canceled. But I get the frustration completely by people who are tired of taking abuse and they're fine. It's like, no, we're done taking abuse. I get it. I get that too. As someone who's been bullied incessantly before, I get the tired of taking abuse and giving it back and being like, fuck you. I get that too. I get where you're coming from. So we are definitely anti-cancel culture. And that's one of the reasons we were so angry when things happened to Gina Carano. We covered it extensively, and we kept bringing up examples of why it was, there was a double standard and everything, because we are adamantly against it. And this whole, rules for thee, but not for me is just exhausting, and I'm tired of it. And we said in the other video, you set the rules of engagement. You use your playbook. They're just using your playbook against you, and now you're mad when it comes for you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly it. So they're all calling. Hundreds are protesting.
You're just hastening your replacement. That's all you're doing, Hollywood.
Cowards.
And here's the thing too, Hollywood. Like I said, Hollywood, the media, they're the reason why this stuff's all happening. They're the reason why everything's polarized. They're the reason why everybody's pickled. They're the reason why. Frankly, studios have lost money. It was the far, far left choices they were making that middle America rejected. And the people that are screaming now are the same ones behind the choices that your audience rejected. So what are you going to do? Are you going to pick, the audience, or are you going to pick the people that are around you in Hollywood screaming at you because you have to face them every day? But the people in Hollywood, if you're working with these studios and you're out there making an idiot of yourself, they're going to see that. They're not going to want to be put in the same position. If they do one thing wrong, you're going to go scream for their heads. They just won't call you, or they'll replace you with AI.
That's just it. You're going to be replaced, and they're going to use this as a litmus test, and it's coming for comics too. It's coming for animation. It's coming for all these industries. There are people I think they already wanted to get rid of. They were just afraid to get rid of them. And they're going to use this situation to be like, oh, you said some shitty things on Twitter. Oh, you're Antifa. Okay, bye. See ya.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I love these free speech. If you sat there and said nothing when they came after like Dave Chappelle and Gina Carano and Roseanne Barr and Tim Allen, you didn't have to agree with what they said. You didn't have to agree with it. But if you sat there and thought it was completely okay that they should be fired because of what they said, and like sometimes it was just, some of the things that they got rid of were just, stupid assumptions. And you were sat there and you were fine with it.
Yeah.
And now you're screaming about it.
Yeah.
Kindly fuck yourself, because you are caused this. You are the reason why, you wanted it this way. And then they're just following, you set the rules, they're following the rules. And now you're mad because it's not what you wanted. You started it. You set the guidelines. So you can kindly sit and spin and shut the fuck up, because you're the ones who were okay with it when it was somebody else that you disagreed with.
Oh, I was just thinking, just like one just popped in my head now. I'm like, oh, I forgot all about Letitia Wright. Remember they wanted her canceled too because she wouldn't take the COVID vaccine.
But that wasn't the whole story. It turned out like they were like making up shit, and like it wasn't even the whole story.
But they were calling for her to be like they loved her, and then they're like, oh, now we hate her because she won't do this.
Gina Carano, they loved Gina Carano, they loved Cara Dune until Gina politely said, "Hey, I don't want to put pronouns in my bio, but I respect that you want to, and I'm against bullying, so I stand with you on do what you need to do, and I'm against bullying." You transphobe, and from then on, anything she said, they were looking for something to get her on, to cancel her. And what she had posted that got her canceled was basically we have to be leery because like World War II, how did the Jews get hauled out? People were polarized against each other to the place where they were so, didn't care about their friends and neighbors because they were Jewish that it happened. And everything she said was historically accurate, and everything she said is fucking coming to pass right now. Just like, we said when she said it, she's not wrong. And that's what's happening. And you're all sitting there, free speech. This is fascism. It was fucking fascism. You just like to use that word when it's convenient for you and when you can twist it to mean what you want it to mean. If you're getting out there doing the same shit, you don't get to say anything when it happens to you. Because you stood there in silence and did nothing and didn't care about freedom of speech when it was somebody you wanted silenced.
Well,
so you know what? Fuck you. Big middle finger. If the camera's on, you'd see 2 middle fingers. How's that? Because you did this. And now everybody's going to be like put into like a prison, more or less, of what's going to happen to free speech now. That's exactly slippery slope because of your actions. And then you're going to turn around and say, it's MAGA. No, bitches. It was you.
It was you. You
own it.
Released it. You released the beast, and now it's eating you too. So, I'm going to wrap it up.
You smelled it, dealt it.
We're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views. Man, this looks like one of our thumbnails. More pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.